Hello and welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm your host Regina, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own key lime shots. The key lime shots look like this. Now we're not talking alcohol, we're just talking key limes and water. That's it. So before you decide to make key lime shots, before I decide to make key lime shots, I'm a health nut, so a lot of information pops up on my feed. And before I hop on any trend, I always like to do some research. So I'm a big fan of AI. So I use ChatGPT as well as Perplexity. I have subscriptions to both, but you can use it for free. And I always like to do research before I hop on anything. And when you're being your own health advocate, it's important to do your research, run it by your doctors to make sure that you don't have any issues or any pre-existing conditions where something can affect something else. So always do your research, do your research, do your research. So anyway, before we begin, you're gonna need a few tools. Naturally, you're gonna need a key lime. So this is what it looks like. It's nice and tiny. What I do is I wash it with either baking soda and water or a veggie wash. And then I cut off this little tip here because I don't want that in my juice. And I like to juice the whole thing. Now, I cut it in half just to make it a little easier on my juicer. Speaking of juicers, there's plenty on the market. My favorite is Vitamix. I've had it well over 20 years. It's a Vitamix Super 5200. It's a powerhouse blender. But again, you can use any blender as long as it's a high-powered one if you want the nutrients in the skin as well. Now, naturally, you can do it the old-fashioned way and have your lemon press and cut it in half and squeeze it. But that's a lot of work. And when it comes, at least in my opinion, when it comes to trying to stay healthy, the more you can do in the beginning in terms of prep work ahead of time, this makes it easier on your health journey. So in the meantime, I've got my Vitamix. I have my filtered water here that I'm going to pour in. I have empty juice containers or water containers because I want to put this in the bottom of the fridge. This will be filled up once it's said and done. You're going to want to have a couple of big bowls around. So, and also a strainer because it's your choice whether or not you want to keep the pulp. But believe it or not, if you strain it, you can use that pulp for something else, and I'll show you that in another video. Or you can just keep it as is. It's totally your choice. You don't have to strain it. My personal preference, I like to strain it. But again, you don't have to. And that's it. So I've got my key limes already cut up. Go ahead and drop it in the blender. Now it's going to get pretty noisy, but not that noisy. I think you can handle that. I'm going to add my water. Naturally, more water than key limes. I kind of take it pretty much to the top. Okay. And to the top here, we're talking about, let's see, what does it say? Okay, so it's almost 7 cups of water and just a few key limes here. This actually, if you picture a whole key lime, it's about 3 key limes in here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. Now the thing with the Vitamix, and every blender has its own routine. You start slow before you turn it up high. That's the method, that's the instructions, and I'm gonna stick with it. So I'm gonna flip it on. Really, this is doing a mild dance. I'm not sure if you can see it from here. And I'm gonna slowly start to turn it up. Increase the intensity. Notice how it's getting cloudy now. Still hear it hitting against the container. I'll let it go for a few minutes. Now I'm going to increase the intensity by turning it up high. Listening to make sure I don't hear the skin hitting the container. down to variable. Now I'm going to decrease the intensity. And voila. You can see how cloudy this looks, but this now is totally blended. Skin and all, and it is a tough skin. So now I'm going to strain it because, again, I don't like the pulp, but you can actually use this as is. Give me a second. Okay, use my spoon here and strain the pulp. Okay, and now this is the pulp. So you can see it's quite a bit of it. And again, you can use this for something else, which I will show you in a later video. Pour it back in my blender. So, you know what? Let me give you a close-up of how it looks. So, it's my bowl. Just look how smooth that is. That skin is gone, totally blended. And again, all this is just plain key limes and water. Put it back. I'm gonna pour it into one of my empty water bottle containers. I know the consensus is we're supposed to be using glass, and I'll get around to it. But sometimes, you know, you can't have everything the way that you want it when you need it. So you have to do what you can. So I've got my empty water bottle. And I mark it with key lime so I know where it is. I put it at the bottom of the fridge. Now the last step is I have my little shot glasses. Now I found these, believe it or not, at the dollar store. This is a 1.5 ounce and this is a 2 ounce. In terms of what's the best size, personally I think it's a personal decision. But you know, when you think about supplements and vitamins and everything else, every little bit helps. So only if you can get this amount in, fine. If you can get a bigger size in, fine. It is going to help your body, but do the research first. Always do the research. Don't just take my word for it. Do your research. So I'm going to pour this in my cup. The only reason I'm using styrofoam because it's easy to blend, not to blend, but to pour it into the container because it's so tiny. You would need a tiny funnel. And of course you can find that, but in the meantime, I got this styrofoam cup. And voila, you got your own natural key lime shots. And I like making a lot at a time because, you know, when you're trying to be healthy, let's face it, it's a lot of work. And it's easy to fall off because it's like, oh, I don't have time. But if you can batch prepare your stuff ahead of time, it makes it easier to keep that momentum going. And that's really, you know, what it's about, keeping the momentum going in terms of trying to stay healthy. So again, I got my little key lime shots. I keep these containers at the bottom of the fridge. And believe it or not, they last a long time. They can, I mean, it doesn't really last that long here in this household, but you give it about a couple of months, believe it or not, it can last a long time. Depends on how many people are in your household and whether or not they're interested in drinking key lime shots. Now, you go and do your research. The key lime shots, first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, is supposed to help with the liver. It helps with, you know, increasing that bile, which helps with digestion. It helps with bowel movements. There's a lot of interesting benefits that come with key lime shots. Now, most people say to drink it warm. I say you can probably do either one, but again, do your research. Don't just take my word for it. Do your research. Now, I know I sound like a commercial. I'm not getting paid by any of the big AI channels, but I like using AI. I like using Chat, and I like using Perplexity. And they're two totally different platforms, and I kind of use them to play off of each other in terms of results. So at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the prompt that I use, which basically is a set of instructions to kind of get good information from these platforms. And I kind of use it to make my own health decisions. Of course, run everything by your doctors, especially if you have a pre-existing condition. When it comes to all these health trends that you see pop up on your feed, don't just jump on it and say, hey, it could work for me. It may not, and it could have serious consequences. So always, always, always do your research, check it with health professionals, and then see if it works for you and your lifestyle. So anyway, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like it, maybe, but I really want to see the thumbs down, but really it's your choice. Main thing is leave your comments, questions, subscribe to this channel. I believe in keeping an open mind when it comes to improving one's health, but I also like to do my research and, just kind of see whether or not it makes sense for me. So I hope this helps. Let me know, and thanks for watching.